All right, welcome everyone. We have Alyson Williams here. Now, Alyson, how would you sort of describe what you do? You're a women's empowerment coach, and you've been coaching for a while now. Your main thing is around belief systems, helping people really shift their belief systems, and you lead with self-love as a main tool, a main ingredient for people's transformation.
Mhm.
Um, Everyone, just in talking before we press recording, Allison's done a few things to get her business off the ground and test and tweak a few things. She's done my 30-day intensive twice. So it'd be really cool to, first of all, discuss what's worked, what hasn't worked, what allowed you to create those breakthroughs with your messaging and with your outreach and these sort of things. That'll help a lot of people. But I think the main thing here is also some of the tweaks we could make, some of the little adjustments that might make your message or your outreach or delivery a little bit more effective. So how about you sort of start off with explaining your breakthroughs when it comes to sending personal messages, crafting a message that's clear and compelling? What were some of the main things or key insights for you?
Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry. Bad time to cough. So, firstly, thank you, Tyson, for having me on, and I'm so happy to be able to share what you've taught me, which has been heaps. Because I just love who you are and how what you do and how you serve your community. So the quick win challenge was really good for me because messaging has always been a problem for me. In fact, I just find marketing and sales not something that's part of my in my comfort zone. And so I probably have I have a lot of resistance. No, probably. I have had a lot of resistance and it's becoming diminished as we go on. And you have been largely part of that process too, because I love how you make us kind of lean into the resistance and give that part of us love and honoring, which is what I do with self-love. So it's completely, in alignment with with my philosophy. So I've been leaning into my resistance and being okay with it, but again, just putting it aside to say, okay, that's okay that you feel like that, but just go and sit there for a while I now have to work in this part of it. And having that, um, taking that stress and that pressure off just puts me in a state of calmness and creativity and, clarity. So I've loved that you've brought that in because one of the things I talk about in my own coaching is whether you're living above the line or below the line, whether you're the cause of your life or you're the effect of life. So that has been very much something that you have consolidated in me in terms of running a campaign. And particularly your genius is being able to look at how to make a message cut through. Because I am such a wordy person, as you know. So having to sort of cut the message down to being succinct and to be clear, but also to hit the mark. And knowing what the mark is to start off with is obviously important because if you don't know what the target is, you're not going to know how to hit it. So you have been instrumental in all of that for me in both the campaigns. So I don't know if I've answered your question, but
Yeah, beautiful. How about you start off by sharing just a little bit about, your coaching business, your journey, who you've helped, and how you've helped them up until now so that people can kind of understand a little bit of a broad spectrum of your coaching journey.
sure. Thanks. So just to backtrack a bit. So before I became a coach, I was a teacher way back when, and I wasn't getting job satisfaction, so I left teaching. And then I came to Canberra and I became a public servant. And I stayed there for 25 years because certainty is one of my core drivers. And so that was the security of having a government job, etc. And then partway through that, as I say, my very comfortable life fell on my head. So there was, health issues brought on by a workplace that was really toxic. I had to move jobs. Luckily, I still had employment, but I had to move from a position where I was kicking a lot of goals. And then on top of all that, my husband of 25 years said he wanted a divorce. So at 53, my whole life that was panned out and planned ahead, which was going to be kind of known and certain and comfortable, suddenly collapsed on me. So I lost who I was. I became really withdrawn and anxious and lost a lot of confidence. And, it took a long time to get out of that. And I got out of that through coaching. And I had done personal development for a few years, and I started my teaching career teaching adults. So when I went to, it was by TCI actually in Melbourne, and I went to one of their weekend things here in Canberra. I thought, I really like what that young man at the front of the room is doing. I used to do that, and I used to be really good at it. I want to get back to doing that. So I signed up, I got my own stuff sorted out, and then I wanted to start my business. So that's why I started my coaching. Now, I started the business while I was still working, and I'm pretty much a tunnel vision kind of person. So I kind of really, what I got all my assessments and stuff, out of the way. And I did a few pro bonos, but I didn't really launch my coaching till 2020. And we know what happened in 2020, right? So that was a whole other kind of flip. So in this time, I've actually realized who I wanted to coach. It took me a while to work out, what my niche was. Because of course, when you come out of coaching school, so to speak, you want to coach the world and make a difference, right? But I realized that I actually wanted to coach women. And I wanted to coach women of my age, like 40 and above. I'm now long past 40, but 40 and above who had had a lot of things happen in their life, and particularly whether it was loss through divorce or death of their partner, whatever, but are now in a transition phase where suddenly what was known was not known anymore. But as I started doing that, I realized that there's so many women out there who have never been what I call seen or heard or valued in their whole lives. Now, I was really lucky I had that in my life. And I thought, you know what? Over the years I've come to realize that that's my purpose. I'm here to be for those women what they didn't have. I'm here to be for them what I was given in my childhood. And so I have now started coaching women. Uh, and I normally say, corporate women, whether in business or what have you, professional women, whether in corporate or in business for themselves, because that's who I was. And right through all my life, all my teaching, all my career, whether I was teaching or in the public service, and even when I was coaching, imposter syndrome was something that haunted me forever. So I then, looked at imposter syndrome. And again, part of my foundation in who I am is because of I was given a lot of validation as a kid, and so my self-love is huge. And I thought that's what women are missing. And that's why I say I believe self-love is the key to all our success, business and professional. And bringing all of that together, I really am here to serve women to be their best selves and live their best lives by being okay with saying no. No shame, no blame, no guilt. That's all rubbish, right? Realize a lot of who you think you are, someone else has told you that. That's not necessarily who you think you are. So for me, that's what I really want to do in my business and in the world. That's the difference I want to make. So when I die, you know, I have stood for something. I've made differences in lives. And I love working with women because I feel when you work with a woman, you influence the family, and the family influences society. And society obviously is the world. So, it might sound grandiose, but that's me. That's my mission.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's kudos to you for, I guess, having the courage to create a pivot in your empowerment when the rug got pulled, especially with your values. How you're hardwired is to value certainty with the government job. As soon as your life falls apart with the divorce and everything like that, and your life doesn't match the way your mind thinks it should be, that's when things start to really your patterns start to kick off, and you start to really, that's the make or break point. And it looks like you really had a shift towards your empowerment by getting into the coaching space, working on yourself, and then doing what you can to educate people and coach them into a similar position. So
Yeah.
kudos to you for that. I think
Thank
one of
you.
the main things listeners can really identify within themselves if they're coaching, if they're a healer, practitioner, coach, facilitator, is this idea of self-love, belief systems. We all know as coaches, as healers, practitioners, that's what matters most. And
Yeah.
what matters most in people's transformation are their belief systems. It's the identity they hold. It's how they see themselves. It's self-love. If you don't have that, if you don't have empowering belief systems, if you don't have self-love, we know that the vast majority of patterns that lead to the decline of so many is because of that core wound. right? The challenge with our messaging is that people don't know that that's it. People don't know that that's what is their core wound. They don't know that that's what's leading to all these surface issues. So what we've done together, and what we continue to brainstorm, is the main question of, if someone doesn't have self-love, if someone has belief systems that are disempowering, what are all the surface challenges that can manifest because of that? What are the tangible problems in people's lives, especially in the elements of meta niches of their health and wellness, of their love and relationships, of their finances, of their business and career, these real core issues that people tend to invest in achieving outcomes for. So that's the main takeaway for so many people. Instead of promoting themselves as, hey, I help people with belief systems, with self-love, with identity shifts, with all these things, which once again, we do know is what they need most. We do know that's what creates the biggest transformation, and that's what we focus on in our programs. However, in highlighting front, the front marketing message needs to be something that's top of mind for your audience. That's top of mind, that's investable, that's definitely something tangible and measurable that they can see value in. So what is it that you've done to shift in your quick win campaigns, and inviting people to something that's more tangible, it's more specific, more investable? What have you tweaked and worked with there?
Well, first I want to say, Tyson, that's where your genius comes in. That's where you are able to really unpeel that onion and get to the core. And I'm mixing my metaphors, but to really get to the core of what the core problem is, not just the surface level. Because for me, a lot of it for me is kind of cerebral, so I'm in my head a lot. So I'm very much conceptual. It's only when I have a chat to people that, more organically kind of the onion gets unpeeled, which I now do instinctively. However, to do that, to sort of sit back and then to do that analytically, has not been something I've been very good at. And that's where you are genius, because you managed to take whatever niche that, people in the group have been in, and you are able to break it down through a very simple system. And that has actually helped me to look at it a bit more critically, to say, okay, so if this person, has lack self-love, how is it showing up in their lives? What is happening that they're not doing? And some of the common things I found, particularly with the challenges I've run and even the coaching clients that I've had, is basically people people talk about boundaries, but I don't think they understand boundaries. People seem to think that a boundary is just saying no, right? But that's not what a boundary is. A boundary is about realizing, what are you willing to put up with, both in and out. Like, what are you willing to give, as well as what are you willing to receive? And have that as a boundary. But just to make it an arbitrary yes or no kind of criterion doesn't mean anything. When you link it to your values, that's when it becomes rooted in reality. That's when it becomes rooted in your your authenticity and your ability to say, no, I'm not going to do this, or yes, I will. Because it really is, for me, the self-love and being authentic and true to yourself is really about being something that you're willing to do. I actually did a post this morning, because I'm trying to do some lives now, about one of the things that look, I know I talk a lot, to bring me back if I'm off tangent. One of the things my mum's guiding principles used to be is, I shall pass this way but once. Anything I do, let me do it now, for I'll never pass this way again, which I think is something from the Bible. And so I've actually adopted that. So I actually help people because I want to, and I'm not people pleasing. So a lot of people might think, oh, well, you're just a people pleaser because you're always helping people. I know. I only help you if you deserve to be helped, in that you're not taking advantage of me, because then I'll be enabling you, and you're willing to take some responsibility and accountability for yourself. Because I'm here to help you. I'm not here to do it for you. I'm here to help you do it for yourself. It's like giving you a fish rather than, it's like teaching you to fish rather than giving you the fish, right? And that's the kind of stuff that for me, I need to really delve down into, what are my clients missing that I will give them so they can be able to fish for themselves.
Well, that's what I want to tap into. What do you think was the difference? Why don't you walk us through what you did for the first intensive and the second intensive in terms of the message you put together, because I know you had some breakthroughs there. So explaining that would probably help people do something similar. So what about you explain the difference of the message you were putting out there, or at least the thought process of what you were doing to help people understand a tangible problem they're overcoming and a more tangible outcome you're helping them achieve. Walk us walk us through that component.
Well, firstly, again, this is, complete honesty. I wasn't present for a lot of the sessions live that you did with the first campaign, so I didn't get the true value. And because I had so much resistance, whatever I did try and put out there, it didn't really work because obviously you need to show up to be there and get the value that you give, which is immense, right? And then it's about, being able to put my resistance aside, give it some love and say, okay, you just have a little rest there while I'm now going to move on in this space. And I was still in the resistance. But with the second one, I was able to attend most of the sessions, which was so much gold, and get from other people as well what they were doing that was working. And the other thing you did was you gave us some examples to actually show us what the difference is between the various aspects that you tell us we need to focus on. Because to me, a lot of it is implicit, so I was missing that, right? So getting into like, who am I actually serving? And I don't really like avatars, like, you've got to be able to see her sitting across the table from you, know what color eyes are, what she has for breakfast, whether she uses hankies or tissues or whatever. To me that just doesn't wash. So you were able to still do all that, get down to the granularity without being ridiculous about it. And I found that that kind of really helped me, especially looking at the examples. I'm very much monkey see, monkey do. So giving me an example was able to help me to break through what I needed to give to people.
Do you remember the
Again,
examples that you saw that were, insightful for you?
so I say that again. Do I
Do you,
remember
me-
what
do you, me- do
example?
you remember the examples that I shared inside? I can give people examples now, but do you remember the ones that sort of made it more practical for you?
Well, you'd give us an example of like, say, so a message goes out, whatever, and then we had to work out what aspects of the four main things or whatever were in there. Is who identified,
Mm.
is the what, is the outcome identified, is the promise identified, is the problem identified. And for a lot of, certainly for me, I was kind of missing some of those um details because I had made a jump. And one of the things that your genius at is realizing that no, we need to tease out each aspect. So specific sort of examples of those don't come to mind, but the generalities were that there were various aspects that we need to hit to make your message really, hit the target.
Gotcha.
And those are there four or five that you talk about?
I remember doing this exercise with you, and it's a big breakthrough for many people. So to create your foundational message is your niche, so your who, which is a person, a
Mm-hmm.
description of a person and the demographics.
Mm-hmm.
There's the problem that you're helping people solve, and the problem that's tangible. So that we call it a priority problem. The priority problem follows the acronym of time. So the time acronym is something that is top of mind for someone, where you use the sentences that are flowing through their head. It's I, which is investable. Someone's willing to invest their time, energy, effort in achieving this thing. Measurable is M, so something that is external, it's tangible, you can see it, you can experience it. And E is if you can create an easy, quick win around that problem. And then obviously for the three elements of you got your niche, you've got the priority problem, and then you've got your quick win or the outcome that you're helping people achieve. And one of the key mistakes people are making is that when I ask them, who's your niche? Instead of saying primary school teachers, instead of saying women in corporate, instead of saying uh, men and women who are 50 plus, instead of saying accountants, instead of saying accountants who have medium to small firms, demographics, people will say, oh, I'll say, who's your niche? And they'll say, I'm helping people who just feel like they have they're stuck in life, and sometimes they just don't necessarily know what to do next. And I'm like, first of all, you're describing a very broad problem, but I didn't ask for the problem. I asked for the niche. And
Yeah,
so you know me, I'm a very compassionate person. I have so much patience for people.
you do.
And part of that exercise is that I need to be very picky. I need to be very picky with people. When I say who's the niche, who's your niche, and they describe the problem, I have to stop them. I have to say, no, you're describing the problem. Like, who's the niche? And then sometimes I'll ask them to describe the problem and they'll explain the outcome. I'll say, what problem are you solving? I'm helping people just find more love and just find more joy in their life and find a career that's really passionate about. I'm like, you're describing the outcome, right? So the exercise you're alluding to here is the exercise where I give people examples
Yeah,
of a promotional post that a health coach might do, a
yeah,
business coach might do, a healer, an intuitive, and we break down who's the niche, what's the problem, what's the outcome, and so people can really start to practice, get the practice of separating those pieces so that when they're
yeah.
crafting their own message, they can actually know their niche, the problem they're solving, the outcome they're helping people achieve, and they can weave that into their message. They know they're not missing anything.
Yeah. You are you have the patience of a saint, I must say, because quite often I've been in the room there, come on now.
Yeah.
Even I've got that. But no, absolutely, because when you have a blind spot, you don't know it's a blind spot, right? And so it really needs someone else to show it to you. And you are genius at doing that. So you've actually opened my mind to a lot of blind spots because one of the other things I had again was, I am so sick of getting people making friend requests on Facebook. And then before I blink, I've got to, do you want to buy my stuff? I got so cheesed off at one point. I put out a post on my page. Please don't ask me to, for a friend request and then sell me your stuff and I won't sell you mine. And one of my friends, cracked up laughing. But really, that's what I don't like about DMs. And that was part of my resistance to DMs, where just sort of saying, hi, Tyson, so nice to meet you. I see you're a coach. You're obviously a business coach. Would you like a VA who can blah, blah, blah? No, go away. So I actually found that the DM thing was something I had resistance to, but you actually helped me to work through that as well. And one of the things, and I can't remember exactly, but I think one of the things I then got to say is that, look, I've got this thing that I'm wondering whether you may be interested in, or do you know someone else who might be interested in it? And I really loved that kind of soft um, sort of question, that soft approach, because that just hard cold sales is not my bag at all.
Yeah, that's so true. Before we get into that, in terms of the personal messages and the outreach and things, how about you give us an example of what was the message you put out there? Because you did craft something that was specifically for business owners. Do you want to give us an example of one of the problems you wanted to help people solve and outcome you wanted to help them achieve?
But again, firstly, I must say the message I got was one that you had crafted on my behalf, which was greatly helpful. Because when you work in an intangible niche like self-love or, mindset, it's really hard well, for me, it was really hard to come up with a tangible outcome. And so you actually crafted a message that, because I do work with women in business, that it was very much towards business. So it's basically, are you stuck with sales and getting, or I can't remember, but something like that, itemizing some of the ways they were stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the things I did want to say is at the end of this, we'll come up with a 7-day action plan or whatever. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But that was what was going to be my original quick win outcome.
So I've got the message here. So
Mhm.
I want to I want to I want to premise this that we many people who are putting out a personal message, as you say, sometimes it's very direct, it's very um, to the point, but very salesy.
Mhm.
And you wanted to focus on business owners. And so one of the questions I had for you was, well, what do business owners want? What are they, what's the top of mind problems they have? What is the tangible quick win they could probably visualize? And not many people are staring at the ceiling at night saying, if only I just had more self-love. If only I had the right belief systems, then
Exactly.
everything else would be okay. No, that's generally, I hypothesize, not what many people, they're thinking about. How do I get more leads? How do I get more exposure? How do I grow my visibility? How do I get those leads? How do I get more clients? How do I generate more income? How do I make sure I'm pivoting in the right way so that my business is sustainable? That's what they're generally thinking about.
Exactly. And that's not my zone of genius because I'm not a business coach. I
Yes.
just happen to work with women in business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But here's what I want everyone to understand is that if you're doing helping people with inner transformations, that's 80% of the work.
exactly.
And so if you're channeling your work towards those tangible outcomes in that way, whether it is doing the inner transformations to finding the love of their life, to improving their health in some way, to reaching this business outcome, to whatever it may be, there's there's just so much connection there where you're doing your zone of genius, but channeled towards the action
Absolutely.
steps. And everyone kind of knows what they need to do in business. You don't need to be the best business coach to move people forward. If you shift their belief system and then even just get them to say, what is your heart calling you to next in terms of a practical action step? They generally know what to do.
Yeah.
It's just they need help with the belief systems, the identity, the courage, the something that's holding them back internally. So here's the personal message we came up with. I'm looking it up on my phone
Oh, good.
as the example. So a personal message you could send out, what we crafted for you is, hey name, hey Steve, hey John, hey Mary. I'm putting together a free group for business women who know they need to get out, who know they need to expand their reach and create more offers to achieve their business goals. So would you like to be part of a group for some accountability and support in doing that? So what we were crafting here was an idea where people know they need to get out there more and people know they need to put their offers in front of more people. They want to do it in ways that are aligned. They don't want to do it in ways that are too pushy, too salesy, too sleazy. They want to do it in ways that are aligned, but they know they need to do it.
Yeah.
So we were like, hey, let's put some things out there. Let's put an idea out there where we gather some business owners, we gather some women, and through a bit of a push, through a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, we all support each other with accountability in getting yourselves out there. Now, that's a pretty clear and compelling message. And I know you had some interest initially, and we can talk about what happened and what tweaks we can make.
Mhm.
But I think people can see how clear that is it's more clear and compelling than hey, I want to help you with I want to help you with getting more clear and finding more alignment with your business strategy and shifting your belief system so you can feel more, so you can have more courage in business.
Okay.
It's not tangible enough, but to say, hey, I want to gather business owners where we can create some accountability and support with putting yourself out there and getting your message out there in larger ways and putting offers in front of people
Yeah.
for a short period of time so that you can actually find some momentum. Um, Walk us through what happened next in terms of putting out that message.
Well, so I did put out the message and then I sent it out to probably about 20 women, I think. And the women sort of coaches that I, have met in coaching communities that I'm in, I know that they have been having some issues in this regard. And I have a Facebook group that I haven't done very much in, I'm ashamed to say, for quite a while. So I reached out to a couple of people there and they said yes. I did look up their profile, people that I weren't friends with, or I didn't kind of know very well. And they said yes, which surprised me. And they wanted to be part of it. And one woman said, oh, this is a really great timing for me because I'm just about to, launch my business. So it just happened that sending out that message to people that I knew had a need made a big difference. And that gave me the confidence to continue to do this. So
Yeah. How
that
many
was,
yeses do you think you got?
I was only wanting 8 and I think I got 12.
Yeah, out of
Um,
was that out of your initial 20 messages you
yeah,
sent?
about 20 or so.
So you sent out 20 personal messages and you got 12 people saying yes. You wanted 8 and you got 12,
Yeah.
which is very good, right? I don't know how many podcasts you'd have to be interviewed on and how many posts you'd have to put out there for 12 people to reach out and say, hey, I want to be involved with what you're putting together.
Yeah.
But that's a really clear and compelling message that's getting the necessary responses. And I think people can start to see if you send 20 personal messages, it doesn't take a lot of time. But for 12 people to raise their hand and say, yes, I want to be involved in this thing, you can hypothesize if you put out another 20 messages, if you therefore expand the message and you put it in a post, you do a Facebook Live, you send it to your email list, you could very easily get, 25 to 30 people wanting to go through a quick win campaign to push their business out there in supportive ways.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I just want to wind back though. Something that, people like you who do this naturally kind of gloss over. If you put out 20 messages, you'll get whatever. Yeah, but it's not just putting out 20 messages, it's knowing the right message to put out. So
Mm.
Tyson, you helped me to make the right message. That was what worked. And that's something that I think a lot of people gloss over. Oh, yeah, just send out 20 messages. Oh, no worries. But it's the right message. And that's where your genius comes in because you are able to make particularly the intangible tangible. And as it turned out, I said to the women, okay, what are you looking for, right? And they all had very similar issues, as you'd imagine. And day one, when we got together, was to work out what are your limiting beliefs? Because working on limiting beliefs, you can still do this in a group, that, people write down what their limiting beliefs are and then have a look at how you can create a belief that, undermines it. I mean, that flips it. So where did that belief come from? Because so often the belief's not ours, or something happened and we made it mean something which it's not. So that was something that we kind of looked at as well. And the other thing is, I'm really big on was values. So looking first at your business, your personal values, and then your business values. Because when you're coming from a place of wanting to serve your clients, then you're much more likely to show up and you're much more likely to say, oh, well, yeah, I can put out 20 messages, or I'll go and find out how to make the message the best message possible.
Mhm.
So that was some of the commonalities that they had, which even though I'm not a business coach, it's the mindset stuff is because even Tony Robbins says 80% of success is mindset and 20% is strategy. So giving them the foundation of the 80%. So
Mm.
they felt grounded in firstly who they were as a self-love coach. That's all what I'm all about. Be really comfortable with who you are, warts and all, because who's perfect. And then knowing that what you have to offer is something that everyone needs because only you can offer that. And then letting go of all the stuff that's held you back and coming home to yourself. And
Yeah.
then putting those structures in place from um, an energetic / emotional space so that you are fully at home with who you are. And then you can sort of bounce off that. Okay, so now that I know that this is really what I want to do, what am I going to do to get that? And then the accountability was working with an accountability partner. So you have someone there for support,
Yeah.
someone who can give you some guidance if need be.
And I can imagine if you decided to grow something like this, a supportive container of women in business who crafted a plan to get out there in bigger ways, we all know kind of a rough example of how to do that. You do more Facebook Lives, you engage in your audience a little bit more, you craft an offer and you actually put it in front of people. When it comes to growing something like this kind of campaign, I can imagine momentum takes over. Like if yes, you sent out 20 messages, you got 12 yeses. Uh, it's obviously what people want. That's a big tick for the core foundational message of your who, problem, and outcome. And so as it grows, if you wanted to, you could have more and more people jump in, 20 people, then 30, then 40, whatever. And I can imagine along the way, everyone supporting each other, providing accountability and getting out there. they're going to come, you're going to educate them, highlight belief systems, highlight self-love issues, highlight all these different things in your program, in your quick win campaign, or in whatever you're running, because you have the time to guide them down the path and say, oh, it's not just that your visibility is low. It's not just that you're not putting yourself out there. It's not just that you're not talking about money and sales because of this reason. It's because you have this belief system. It's because you view yourself in this way. It's because you have this identity. It's because of X, Y, and Z, which gives you so much data, feedback, ideas around what to do next time, how to craft your paid offers so that it tailors, perfectly from what the patterns you're picking up in your campaign. And I think that's one of the main things I'm seeing people as they run quick win campaigns is you get so much feedback, data, ideas on how to deliver, in more effective ways. And so if you wanted to do that, you definitely could grow it and you could be the expert in, as people get out there, how to shift your internal patterns, how to shift your belief systems, how to shift how you view yourself, your self-love, all these things. I can imagine you creating templates or sayings, that you getting out there is self-love. You promoting yourself is a form of self-love, like these sort of
Absolutely.
things. You know what I mean? So up to you if you wanted to grow that. Did you want to brainstorm or run any challenges by me for how you might do that?
Sure. So I am about to launch another 5-day challenge. It's called the Worthy Challenge, reclaiming yourself to come, like basically, letting go of all the stuff that other people have said about who you are, your belief systems and the things that have held you back, and stepping into your true self.
Mm-hmm.
So that's and I haven't got a full name for it yet. I used to call it the self-love challenge, but I've decided I'm going to change that.
Yep.
Um, I'm also now launching a new program called the Self-Claimed Woman, which
Yep.
I'm going to put out there as well, because that's not a term that's well known or well used, which is why I chose it. And virtually, it's all really about helping women to come home to themselves,
Yeah.
whether it's in their business or in their relationships or in their health or whatever.
Yeah. So here's the thing: true self, self-claimed, come home to yourself, all broad, all nebulous.
Yeah.
So although that could be the name, what we want to do is we want to find a more tangible message that um, that can encompass a clear and compelling message for that. So which one do you want to focus on? Do you want to focus on the Worthy Women Challenge? Do you want a self-claimed woman? Do you want to do the come back home to yourself? What do you want to pick apart here?
All of the above. um, well, they are kind of all interrelated, though, aren't they?
Okay.
So it's a self-worth based on, you see a self-worth based on, obviously that means yourself. Don't mind me.
Okay. Is this for business women? The people running their own business?
Yeah.
Cool. Um, so the main question, if someone has, so let's take worthiness. If someone's running a businesswoman, and they're struggling with the intangible problem, which is self-worth.
Mm.
Um, Once again, no one's really staring at the ceiling at night as they can't sleep, thinking, I want to value myself more. If only I had more self-worth, then everything else would be okay. They're not thinking that. Very rarely would they do that. So
Mm-hmm.
the main question is, what tangible problems manifest as a byproduct of them having low self-worth?
Well, they put everyone else ahead of themselves, right?
Yep.
So they are becoming less important in their own lives.
Yep.
That's causing exhaustion,
Yep.
physical, mental, emotional stress. And I guess if it goes too far, it could be burnout. It
Yep.
could also be, anxiety and depression. So, and I don't mean those in clinical terms. I mean that just in kind of emotional terms. Um, so it can be a whole lot of um, almost becomes like a self-fulfilling, prophecy. Like it becomes a hamster wheel that they can't get off.
Yeah, cool. So stress and anxiety, somewhat internal. Putting everyone else ahead of themselves is external, but probably not the top of mind problem that's, you know, top of mind, investable, tangible. Not very few people would come to you and the top of mind challenge is like, I'm just putting everyone first, you know. We do hear that, but it's not necessarily the main problem they're struggling with.
It's a
Um,
time and energy thing because they're giving their time and their energy to everyone else.
okay, cool. So time and energy, they're giving it away to everyone else. Does that mean they're not spending time on their business?
Um, well, they are also spending time on their business, but it is without joy because they're kind of quite depleted
Yeah.
from doing everything else. And so the business either becomes an escape instead of an avenue for creating change.
Okay. Let's ask this again. So what tangible problems, right? What tangible problems manifest as a byproduct of someone having low self-worth? They value themselves, least. They're putting other people first, giving away their time and energy to everyone else's, challenges. What problems that are tangible manifest because of that?
But it might even be that they're not putting out offers there because the self-worth is quite low. They
Yep.
don't feel worthy enough to that whatever they're putting out there, especially if you're in a service, right,
Yep.
is going to be that people are going to buy
Yep. Correct. Offers, they're not putting out their offers. Hey, what are they pricing their stuff at?
as well. That's right.
Tangible, right?
Yeah.
Tangible things in terms of revenue. The main thing why we run a business and the lifeblood of a business is, are you making revenue?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of revenue are you making? Is your time, energy, and effort translating to the return on investment? And obviously, as we know, your how you generate income is a byproduct of the value you give to the world, and that also reflects your pricing. So they're probably discounting themselves a lot in
Yeah.
in their pricing, as you highlight correctly. Their offers, they're not putting out a lot of offers. The offers they put out are probably somewhat, um, you know, somewhat weak, somewhat very soft, very, I don't see them putting out an offer with a level of conviction
Yeah.
that allows the other person to feel confidence and certainty in jumping in, right? So,
Absolutely.
correct. A lot of this, maybe we can hypothesize it will be a lot around sales with confidence, around the kind of offers they're putting out there, around their pricing. These are all tangible things in their business, right? That generate that manifest as a byproduct of self-worth issues.
Yeah. They're either over delivering and undervaluing themselves and their services,
Mm,
or they're over delivering and undervaluing themselves and their services, which is part of what you said. Or
mm.
they might not feel that what they have to offer is enough, so they're doing another certification and another course and another
Yeah.
whatever because they don't feel worthy enough with what they've got.
Yeah, totally. And I think many people fit into that boat of just doing more certifications, more learning. Now, of course, that is a part of being a successful business owner, a coach, someone in personal development. We're always growing, but
Yeah.
it's the energy in which you're doing it from.
Yeah.
It's not empowering. It's like, I need to do this certification from a
Absolutely.
limiting belief. It's an energy of, I'm not good enough yet. I
Yeah.
need to do X, Y, and Z,
Exactly.
compared to, I'm doing this for my empowerment. I'm continuing to grow and continuing to add value to the world. And it feels it's coming from a value place of, I'm already good enough. I'm just leveling up my skill set. Very different energy about it.
And there's another reason, like I love learning and I love doing courses, so I'm very much one of those people who does those things. But a lot of it is also just because I enjoy learning about it. So I did a free 4-week course on astrology. I don't want to do that in my business, but
Yeah.
I've always loved astrology and I wanted to know more about astrology. So I just did it because A, it was free, but one, it was, B, it was, 4 weeks. It was only like a week, well, it was 2 weeks or 2 hours a week. And so I just got a lot of joy out of it. And that in itself was enough. I'm never going to bring that into my business. I don't really want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And so here's what we can piece together. If you craft a message helping women in business elevate their sales, do something with crafting their offers and putting their offers out there, pricing themselves according to the value that they're giving the clients. Part of your message can be that many find themselves in the cycle of pricing themselves too low or doing things for free and over giving, past what your energy levels can sustain. Therefore, attracting people who aren't necessarily committed, don't necessarily get the results because they're not committed. And therefore, the reflection on the coach is less confidence, therefore, feeling like they need to do more certifications.
Exactly.
And there's this consistent cycle where they never feel good enough. They're not getting results because they're only pricing themselves and creating offers for those who aren't really committed anyway. Therefore, their results don't reflect the coach's value. So shifting that part of an offer, part of a campaign, part of a container can be to shift that and say, step into the value that you can give, price yourself accordingly, create that offer from a place of certainty and confidence, and see the shift in your clients because of it, because you attract the people who are actually committed, and watch your confidence grow as your clients get better results, only because you shifted how you price yourself and the offers you create and the energy in which you create that offer.
Yeah.
Now, once again, you're not a sales coach, you're not a business coach, but isn't it true the level of confidence and certainty people can come with selling something by only shifting their beliefs, their identity, right? How they see themselves, what they associate to pain and pleasure, all these different things, consciously and unconsciously, can radically shift how people get out there, how they talk about their stuff, the pricing, everything like that. You don't need to, go and do a business degree to understand that this can create a radical shift in how people put themselves out there.
And that's why even in my 3 weeks, all I was doing the first week was the limiting beliefs and then the values, because that is really getting rid of all the crap you've been carrying around with you, which is not true for the most part. And if the bits that are true, well, what are you going to do about it, right? If this is what you truly believe about yourself, which is a limitation, well, you're just going to go through life saying, oh, well, woe is me, I'm not very good at tech, and I never have been. Or am I going to say, well, I'm not very good at tech, and I never have been, and now I'm going to learn it. Now with AI, there are things AI can do for me that, I don't need to know about tech. I'll find out about AI and I'll short circuit that problem that I used to have. So it's also about, I'm all about, radical accountability for myself, which I definitely need, but also to do that for my clients, a bit of tough love to say, well, I'm not here to be your enabler. I'm not here to wipe your nose. I'm here for you to make a difference and live the life you want.
Yeah.
Right?
Very
If
cool.
that's what you want, I'm here. But if you want sort of someone who's just going to say yes to make you feel good, sorry, wrong person.
Beautiful. So yeah, I mean, if you put out that message and send some personal messages, no doubt you're going to get some positive responses like you had in the past, because it's a very clear and compelling message. What else can we do? We'll wrap it up in a few minutes here, but I think it seems like you've got a platform on how you can help people with an upfront message that's clear and compelling. It'll just be a matter of putting that into a personal message, something along the lines of, hey, Sally, I'm bringing business women together to upgrade how they price themselves and how they sell with confidence. Would you be interested in something like that? You can craft something along those lines. And then when they jump in, you talk all about overgiving. You talk all about limiting beliefs, self-worth issues, identity stuff. There's so many cool things you can do within a group that allows for those transformations. But the tangible outcomes for them are that they get themselves out there and sell from a place of confidence and certainty. Is there anything else we can help with here that you think you would need to move forward in tangible ways?
No, I love that. What the other thing I was going to say is because quite often when I do get a client and I can't help them because it's not, my area of expertise, I'll refer them to someone else who can help them. And this is what I love about if I am working with business women and I'm not a business coach, well, working with business women and not being a business coach, when they say, I need to know how to craft an offer. Well, hey, do I have the person you should talk to? One Tyson Sharp, which I've already done, and one of the ladies is so happy that, I was recommending you because she was already stalking you on Facebook. So, the other thing I love is we're here to help each other, not only our clients, but even, as we collaborate together. And you're someone who gives so much that it's really lovely when you get something back in return
Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate the kind words, fully received.
from the heart.
How can people find out more about you? Check out where you're putting out your stuff. How can people jump on board with what you're putting together?
Well, my link tree, I always get this wrong on Zoom. So the link tree thing there will give you some contact details for me, but very much find me on Facebook on Messenger because when a message pops up, I see it. I don't do emails very much, so I'm very bad with emails. But definitely Messenger, I see, things that pop up. So that's definitely one way to do it. And I also do have a website. Uh, but you can even give me a call. I'm on WhatsApp. I'm on Telegram. You know, reach out. I'd love to have a chat. I also do a 30-minute free consultation call, and it's not a sales call. It really is a consultation call.
If I'm just on mute, the dog.
I
How,
can hear the dog.
what else are you thinking in terms of what you put together for your programs?
Well, I have a 12-week one-on-one unlimited coaching program, and that's 12 weekly sessions of about an hour each. And again, it'll finish when we've done what we're doing, because a lot of the things I start with are the 5 things in NLP, the 5 main emotions: anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. And sometimes, we might go an hour, sometimes it might be 45 minutes, sometimes it might be an hour and 15. So we get it done, whatever we need to do in that session. So 12 weeks, unlimited coaching, one-on-one. And then you can 24-hour access, you can send me a message or what have you. I'll get back to you within 24 hours, depending on time zones, etc. And that will be maybe just a quick call. It might just be a video message or an audio message, but you're never alone. I'm there to hold your hand and give you tools, tips, and strategies so you can fish for yourself for life. You won't just be given the fish.
I think that's I think that's what people are after. People are desperately after a level of accountability and support because that's where we struggle. We struggle most with not only knowing what to do and how to do it, but I guess just a level of accountability for people to be like, I need to know who to reach out to. I need to know how to have support with my goals. So in what ways will that, in what ways can I move forward consistently on a path that's proven? Um, and that's what people desperately need. Hey, so thank you
And
for your
especially,
time as well. I appreciate just jumping on here and sharing what
my
you've been
pleasure,
going
my
through
pleasure.
and helping you, I guess, move forward in tangible ways. So always feel free to reach out to me if you want to brainstorm things, if you want to get out there in ways that, running the quick win campaigns, we could definitely do that for you. All right.
I love that. And one of the things I like to do with my clients is walk with them, take them by the hand, and you do that with us, Tyson. So we're never by ourselves. You're always there to lend support and to give us encouragement and to show us the way as well without taking away our own accountability and responsibility. So thank you for all that you do and for all that you've given me, and thank you for the opportunity to be here and have a chat
Pleasure.
and
Pleasure.
get great a great way forward. Thank you.
Pleasure. Take care. All right. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Thanks, Alyson. Bye bye.